Hello folks, welcome to After the 90. We're finally up and running with the podcast, and myself Dave, to your left is Stephen, and to your right is Graeme. It's almost like being on a Ryanair flight exit. So it's like, but no, finally welcome. We're up on the podcast. It's the first one. I'm very excited to get this going. And we've plenty of stuff to talk about today. Just obviously a cheap plug for the website, afterthe90.co.uk. We've got plenty of articles up from Stephen, from Graeme, and from Jamie as well, that you can skim over, have a read, and let us know what you think. Because without feedback, we don't know where we need to improve. We don't know what we need to improve. So your feedback is essential for what we do. But the first thing we're going to talk about this evening, obviously it's a full swing at the minute, is the African Cup of Nations, so AFCON 2019. Have you guys had a chance to grab a look?
Yeah, I was watching a few games on Saturday and Sunday.
How did you find them?
Yeah,
I mean, personally, looking at some of the games, some of the goals that have been scored and some of the talent that I've seen, I don't think I've seen an AFCON with so much talent poured into it, realistically, looking over the squads.
It is a bit early at the minute to tell who's obviously only the first round of games, but like some of the poor teams, like I mean, maybe the other day I was watching, was it Tanzania, so we were playing Ghana or Senegal, and they kicked the lumps out of Senegal. So like,
sometimes that's like, when you don't have the level of Senegal, what are you going to do? You're going to try and stop them
we don't see Gibraltar on flying tackles like them.
No,
they
are
actually.
But you have to remember, Gibraltar have jobs to think about as well. Not that they don't have jobs, but you have to think of the post he goes in and lays into someone and breaks his leg. That's his job done with.
One lad, one lad actually took a Senegalese player out of the box, and how he didn't get a penalty for it, I don't know. But it was an awful tackle right on the line, and it was not a penalty. But Senegal anyway got the job done 1-2-0. But they got some kicking. It was weird to watch, but that's what you get in the African Nations Cup. It's a mad one.
It's a crazy tournament. You get a little bit of everything.
I watch it all the time, and every year, like the teams that you don't expect to qualify are the ones that are like qualify for the first time.
The Cup of Nations takes place.
It used to be every January.
Yeah.
It's the first one I think that takes place in the summer. Yeah.
It's every summer.
Yeah, it'll be every summer from now on, but it's the first one that takes place in the summer.
It's better for teams that way. I mean, let's face it. I know it's the off season, and don't get me wrong, the off season kills me as much as it kills everyone else. But we've had, how many tournaments have we got going on? 3 at the minute. 3 major tournaments going on. The Copa America, Gold Cup, and AFCON.
And
not to mention the 21's World Cup.
I've been watching
the Women's World Cup. So I mean, you have so much football on at the minute. It's hard to.
I think in a lot of ways it's probably helping me keeping the symptoms kind of under control, sort of thing.
Because when you don't have a Euros or a World Cup, sometimes it can be a bit like the off season. Even though the off season, funnily enough, is only about a month and a half. It can seem like 6 months down the line.
Seems a lot longer,
really can.
For sure.
But the first topic of the African Cup of Nations, obviously we're based here in Edinburgh. So I had a look at what players from the SPFL that are still based. This is recorded before the 1st of July, by the way. So any teams that are at their respective clubs now and leave after 1st of January, 1st of July, we're not held accountable. But the first player coming up is a really frustrating, but you kind of feel for the guy, is Thomas Agipong, who had a torrid time at Hibs. He's injured again. Made his debut, started for Ghana, and of course 35 minutes in, another injury.
Sums up his career so far, isn't it?
It's just, for such a young lad as well. You hate to see it, but at the same time, from a manager's point of view, it's a tough decision. But you kind of got to say, look, I can't.
This is it, and I think this is a problem he's going to have for the majority of his career, because if you look at, like we talked about him being at Hibs, and he just never seemed to get going.
Yeah. I mean, you can see why City picked him up.
Yeah,
he's got pace. He's got good ball control.
He has talent. Whatever he's got. I mean, he has got all the makings of being a good football player. But the problem that he's got is, just now anyway, he's too injury prone.
Yeah.
And if you're at a team like Manchester City, they're not going to have you on their wage bill if you're consistently injured.
Well, I remember, this is a different case obviously, but with Liverpool with Steven Gerrard when he was 17 was always in and out of the team injured because of his back and because he was developing a bit too quicker than he was building himself up quicker than what his body can handle. Maybe that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
A lot of it seems to be like hamstring injuries.
Yeah. So maybe he's pushing himself too hard. Or,
look,
look, everyone has their limit, and I think a lot of footballers don't realise that everyone's body has a limit. You can push it to the point where it's just going to give way. A perfect example of that is Michael Owen. Michael Owen, all the talent in the world, he pushed himself too hard, and he said it in a recent interview. I say recent, it was this year anyway. But he said it in an interview that he pushed himself to the point where his hamstring went, and since then
He was frightening.
mentally.
He was frightening at one point.
But mentally after that injury, he's not been able to play football because he fears of I'm going to do it again.
That's why you
And
prefer.
his career went, a journeyman's way.
Yeah,
if you want to say
he
that.
still, in a lot of ways, he still had a good career.
He did,
Taking nothing away from him, he had a good career.
but he wanted to retire, and if it wasn't for the money, he would have retired.
And the thing is, I think if he had actually, because when he broke into the Liverpool team, he was frightening. Pace, power, eye for a goal, everything. He had everything. The '98 World Cup, the goal against Argentina, that was his goal. That was him. That was what he was about. And the next thing, as you say, gets a really bad injury, and it was
I still remember him doing that injury. Actually,
Yeah.
he was playing at Ellen Road, and he went through on goal, and just his hammer gave up.
After that, it was never the
As
same.
he said, the muscle came away from the bone.
Yeah.
So it was hard to repair that.
Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, if it's a tear, hamstring tear, fair enough. When you tear the hamstring, any muscle you tear clean off the bone, Achilles, your career's done.
That's
Yeah.
another one.
That's another one. You tear your Achilles, even then is his time out. But the next player then is Gael Bigaromana. I'll hold my hand up and say I've been a fan of his since Newcastle, right? Because he broke through Newcastle, and I thought this guy's got a great pass on him. He's got great vision. He played well, Motherwell, and when Hibs finally signed him up, I was like, this is great. He's going to do great for this club. He may get his game. Hopefully he does. And it just didn't hardly even on the bench. But then you look at who he had to compete with, and it's like, well, sometimes it doesn't come off for a player. With Gael Bigaromana and Agipong obviously representing Hibs, again, as the 1st of July, he probably won't be representing Hibs, but and Hearts have another one who's possibly leaving in Arnold June playing for Cameroon. Not a bad player at all. He scored some cracking goals, unfortunately, against Hibs as well.
Yeah.
You take the 2-2, that was
Nothing
away from that.
That's a cracking goal to it. I think he's actually a very underrated player.
He's a decent player.
I think for what he actually brings to a football team, he's very underrated. He's quite quick, he's strong.
Would you have him Easter?
I would have him at Hibs because I think we would probably be more suited to his game. Because I remember Michael Stewart pulling up a couple of stats on him, and he's always looking to play the ball forward. Always looking to play the ball forward. Whereas obviously when you're playing in a Hearts team who unfortunately they are quite back to front quite quickly, they're very slow. I'm not saying that as Abby, I'm just saying that as a football fan. They're very slow to build up. Their build-up play is very, very slow. It's quite rigid at times. And every time he was on the ball, looking forward,
He was not
there was none to move.
Yeah.
So
And that's probably why they're looking to
frustrating.
move him on, because he's the type of player that wants to play on the counter and play,
Yeah, completely.
go forward.
I mean, I would have him at Hibs for sure.
He had him under Robbie Nielsen, and he was bossing the midfield. His vision was great. Under Levine and Cathro, not so much. But then you have another player representing Rangers this time, and Mali is Koulibaly. He's not had a bad season.
He played much though.
I don't actually think he's played that. I think he's
the games he
started the
has
season.
played, he's been okay, but again, he's not had a bad season. He's still there.
I think he
seems to be
started
under
the season quite well, but he seems to have just faded away a wee bit. I seem to remember him playing quite well in the Europa League qualifiers, and I remember him playing quite well in the group stages. I can't remember who.
I think it's, to be honest, I think the whole Rangers squad kind of pulled together for that campaign, because obviously they had the qualifying rounds, and then they had the group stages. They played well against most of them teams. But probably faded away. But again, he's in the African Cup of Nations playing for Mali. Again, it's obviously the player's top honour should be to represent the country. And the last one representing the SPFL is obviously Yusuf Malumbu, representing Congo. Now that player is someone who's been around a long time. He's played Premier League football,
West
Brom, Kilmarnock,
Celtic,
Dunfermline, right?
He went to Celtic rather than Kilmarnock.
Yeah. So I mean, Celtic again was a weird one. So obviously Celtic got in from, and then he was loaned back to
Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock.
Was that not permanent deal at the bottom?
No, he went to Celtic. I'm sure he was loaned back. I actually think he might be released by Celtic.
That's what I think.
could be
That's
wrong.
what I think.
It's a very strange one though.
Is it not? Oh well. But not just as I say. I mean, for me, I think he's a brilliant player. He's big, quick, really strong. Can play a pass. A really good midfield. A really good general in the middle of the park.
But he's not really lost many things.
No, that's it. he's probably the epitome of a modern day football player, where he's holding on to his abilities for longer.
But these are the SPFL, you know, players. Played for, you know, he's 32, right? Played for PSG. You know, played for West Brom, played for Norwich, Kilmarnock, Celtic, and then back to Kilmarnock again. But no, I mean, those are the 5 players representing SPFL clubs. It's not a bad number. I know it's a low number, 5, but at least SPFL clubs are still being represented.
This is that.
And that's the main thing. But the second point here is 87 of the AFCON players, right, which is 15%, version of 16% of the competition, are based in France. No surprise there.
No, it's no surprising, unfortunately.
We spoke about this before we went live, basically, that, you know, with the relations that, you know, obviously foreign French colonies and so on and so forth.
It must be quite good. I mean, if you are working in French football, you must sit there and go, well, this player's doing right. I wonder if he's got any French now. I can call him up.
Yeah, it must be easier from a visa standpoint or permanent standpoint.
Yeah, completely. And
not only that, but the good football
talent.
Why do you look at a lot of players?
Fantastic.
Why do you look at a lot of the players that are playing the African Nations Cup for the nations that play in France? They were obviously born in France, but they obviously play French till under 21s in France, and then like it's a different point altogether. Wilfred Zaha with England, he played under 21s. Made a senior debut in France and played for Ivory Coast. So it's just. It seems to be the norm in France anyway that like if you're any kind of African descent, you will play for your own country. Yeah.
I mean, skimming over some of the, you know, 317 out of 547 players play in Europe. So I mean, to be in Europe, they have almost all of the African Cup of Nations players in the tournament playing in Europe.
Well, we were
strong for Europe as well.
You know, if you actually look at the players, you know, who are all playing, a lot of them are all kind of European based. They're all coming from really decent teams. Like Mahrez, Zaha, Mane, and all these players. You know, they're coming from really good sides and they're top players.
I mean, Rennes in France have 7 players in the African Cup of Nations. That's 7 players from one club in the African Cup of Nations. That is outstanding. You know, that shows how African football is represented in France. But just to skim over some of the teams, I'll give you a couple of pages to have a look over. You know, we've got most of the squads here, right? Have a look over a few of these. I'm looking at Cameroon's squad, right? I'm looking straight away at Cameroon's squad now, and I'm already seeing, like we talked about, Arnaud Dune being a Hearts, Guy Tambong, Brighton Hove Albion, Carl Toko Akambi at Villarreal. You know, you've got Real Betis. You've got Fulham, Anguissa, who's been playing really well. Actually, it's a fantastic season at Fulham. Last season, you've got Choupo-Moting playing for PSG, and that's just one team. You know,
well,
Clinton Ng, who was on loan at Tottenham and plays for Marseille.
He used to be at Lyon actually.
And Lyon as well. You know, and that's just one team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same there. I mean, I've got Senegal. I mean, I spoke about Mane. You've got Keita Balde there, obviously playing for Internazionale, and Dide playing for Malaga, who I know is a really good player.
See at Leicester.
Is
that who was it? Indeed.
Alfred.
That's Alfred. Yeah.
A wee player I kind of say his last name. I'm probably going to get butchered for saying it, but Musa Wagu, who plays for.
Wagway,
Is that Wagway? I tried.
For some reason, this guy can pronounce names absolute proper. I don't know why he can pronounce them proper. But he's probably never read the name in his life. But it's one skill set he's got is to pronounce
the guy's 20-year-old playing for Barcelona. Obviously, I've actually signed him for my Hibs team on Football Manager. That's just sad. I've signed him for my Hibs team on Football Manager, and the guy's phenomenal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that again, as you say, that's just one team.
Just to touch on Football Manager, actually, I got a present from our producer director Jamie of a match attacks card for Faisal El Bakhtawi, right? And some people may ask, why do you have that? Why do you have that? Well, to be honest, it was a joke he had because I signed him on Football Manager, funnily enough, and he was doing fantastic for me, so I became a bit of a fanboy of Football Manager, not really like mine. So he got this as a joke. Well, it's actually a treasure present. Thank you, Jamie. But no, you were saying that like that's just, you know, two teams that are there.
As you say there, that's Senegal and the team you had there. But I mean, you go on to other teams, like there's Algeria there.
Algeria,
you know.
I had this conversation with Jamie, right? I looked at Algeria and Jamie said, oh, they'd be a front runner. I said, Algeria, not Algeria. And then I looked at the team and said, oh, okay, Algeria. If you riff off some of the player names that you've got there,
you've got
you know.
Mahrez there. You've got what else can I say?
I'll give you a hand.
Give me a hand.
You've got Islam Slimani.
Yeah, Faguli used to play for Valencia. There's a Galatasaray now. And West Ham, sorry.
I mean, you've got players from Rennes, Nottingham Forest. You've got Napoli, Porto, Galatasaray. You know, Lyon, Real Betis. You know, some of these guys. This is just again one team. That's Algeria.
Yeah, completely.
I've got Mali here, right? Everyone thinks Mali. No, surely not. Well, you've got Adama Traore.
He's Wolves.
You've got another Wagway. You've got Mola Wagway, plays for Nottingham Forest. You've got, as we said, Lassana Koulibaly, plays for Rangers. Khalifa Koulibaly plays for Nantes. Moussa Doumbia plays for Reims. Amadou Haidara, who's quite hotly tipped, plays for Leipzig. And Youssouf Koné plays for Lille. And again, I'm just riffing off some of the names that are on here, but this is one of the teams that people look at and go, Mali, surely they don't have, you know, many people, but 16 to 1 to win. I don't know how you can choose a team to win this African Cup of Nations, I really don't. It's so tight this year with the talent that are on teams. Graeme, who have you got?
Got Morocco here actually.
That was my dark horse. You know, Morocco is 12 to 1 to win the African Cup of Nations. This is my dark horse.
I watched the other
team.
team. Alright. Benin defended and took an OG to break them down. Awful OG, you can actually see it again. But yeah, they have a good side here. There's a Sofiane Boufal.
Yep.
Another Premier League player, if I remember correctly.
Maybe Southampton.
Yeah.
Southampton. Yeah, I don't know why he scored that massively good solo goal actually.
He was better-handed. He won the league on with Montpellier. He's now playing for Galatasaray. Khalid Boutaïb is another one that used to play in Europe. Can't remember who. Mark Boussinfa. He was a very good player at Anderlecht a few years ago. He was actually on the books of Chelsea as well. Northern Amrabat, who left Watford to go to Al Nassr, is another one. Durar is a good player.
Amrabat, yeah.
Then there was another fella.
You got Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah, Ziyech.
One of the standouts in the Champions League. You've got another.
Maybe Benanti used to be a point.
Another Ajax player as well.
Yeah, Mazraoui.
And you've got Ashraf Hakimi at Dortmund, and this is what I mean.
Who Real Madrid, I think, have just signed, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, he's on loan with Borussia Dortmund. He's on loan with Borussia Dortmunt, yeah, from Real Madrid.
2-year loan deal.
Yeah, Mehdi Benatia. He used to play for Bayern Munich. They have a good squad.
Do you know what I mean?
But they need to play a hell of a lot better than they did on Sunday, because I watched that game on Sunday and the last 15-20 minutes of it, they didn't really impress me from what I saw. They had a lot of the ball, but they didn't.
We've riffed off some players there that are tipped for multi-million cameras to some of the top clubs in Europe, and it's just absolutely insane. You know, Ivory Coast are always like the, you know, what are they there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th in line, you know, to win.
That squad is
behind Egypt, Nigeria, Senegal, Algeria. We talked about these teams already. It's just, I can't call it because there's just so many.
That squad is
talented teams.
Quite strange, actually, to be honest with you.
What do you find strange about it?
Some of the players they have, like there's a couple of uncapped players, Suleiman Doumbia, and Tape Eliezer, goalkeeper, who I don't think is actually playing anymore.
I think that's probably the weakest position at this tournament, is probably the goalkeeping.
Some of it is crazy. They just fly out with the ball.
Now, we talk about the outfield players, right? And we talk about the talent that this tournament has, because it's absolutely outstanding. We talk about the Euros and things like that, and how much talent the European nations have. Just look at the African Cup of Nations teams and you look at the talent that they've got. But that's one area in this entire tournament, you touched on it as well, is absolutely dire.
One of that,
it's bad.
It's bad, to be honest.
The Ivory Coast fella playing from called Maxwell Cornet at Lyon, and he is really good.
Been tipped for, he's at PSG, is that right?
No, Lyon. He's really good. Yeah.
Lyon, yeah.
Frank Kessie at Milan. No, you won't. Wilfred Zaha, obviously Palace.
We don't know about Zaha.
Wilfred Bowney, but Al Arabi in Qatar.
Yeah, he's I don't know. I think I said this to Stephen. I think he's just become part of the Ivory Coast furniture that he has to be included in the squad.
Jonathan Codge, another good player.
As well.
Max Graeme used to be at Leeds and San Etienne. He's at Toulouse now. Good player. Serge Aurier, fullback. He's a bit erratic. Nicolas Pepe, Liverpool's after him. Serie D. But yeah, they're 8-1 to win it, Ivory Coast, so it's...
It goes to show me that's a hell of a squad. South Africa have the most players playing in their domestic league, with 17 players in the South African league. So they're representing their own league very well. Cameroon, Senegal and Guinea have no players representing their league, which is quite surprising. I mean, well, I'm not going to say I go ahead and say I know like everything about the African domestic leagues. I don't. But I would imagine, I would have thought they would have had one or two to represent. Dark horses, Morocco and Mali. Again, you looked at these teams in the town they've got. But as Graeme said, Graeme's watched them Sunday on, and
they just didn't.
They have to
from what I saw, they just didn't impress me. You look at Ghana squad. Asamoah Gyan's still getting called.
See, now that surprises me because but that surprises me. I thought he pulled out because they wouldn't make him captain. He wouldn't play.
No, I don't think so.
Because I read that before the tournament, but there you go, he's in the squad.
Young man John Boy still playing for them, still playing as well. Kwabo Asamoah used to be at Juventus, is now at Inter. Samuel Owusu, 23-year-old. What that name rings a bell? Is he in England? Or Scotland, I think. No,
Scotland.
Sorry, it's a different Owusu. Sorry. Baba Rahman, he plays for Reims.
He's been touted as well, actually.
Then the Oyo brothers, obviously. Christian Atsu.
Who both scored, I might add, last night. Both Jordan and Andre scored.
Thomas Partey, very good midfielder for that.
Atletico, yeah.
Jonathan Mensah, I think he's playing in England, I'm usually sure.
That name sounds familiar from it,
Yeah.
I can't think of it. I can't think of the team.
Yeah, I think it was Sunderland, if I'm not mistaken.
But you look at that team, again, they're fourth or something to win the tournament.
Yeah.
On the betting odds. Here's something if you have a look at your podcast sheets, right? So at the very end, some of the teams that these players play for, right? I'm not telling you what I hear, right? Some of these players, some players who play for Egypt play for a club called Pyramids, and that's just lazy.
That's brilliant.
I mean, it is brilliant, but it's lazy.
I think there's a club in Egypt there called the Pharaohs. I think.
Nah, you're pulling my leg.
They're very creative. It is quite a funny name, but for a team in Egypt to be called Pyramids. Namibia's one would probably you'd consider quite controversial if you say it out loud. It's called Black Africa. I'm saying nothing more. The Life Fighters from Namibia as well. Now these team names are not representing the African Cup of Nations. They're both in the Namibian domestic league. But young Brazilians.
See, that's an odd one for me. That's really odd. The fact
young
that
Brazilians in Namibia. And then you have the Mighty Gunners.
See, I think that might just be laziness because somebody's might have looked at Arsenal and went, "Oh, just
Arsenal was sponsoring them.
Yeah, it's possible.
Oh well, that's my.
Tanzania have the young Africans.
There's a team in South Africa called Ajax Cape Town.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another one actually with a great name, Manoli Sundowns.
Well, here's one from Zambia that might tip that. Well, probably tip that, maybe not. Power Dynamos.
Yeah. It's not on the agenda.
It's no, it's not. It's no, it's just these teams. We want to bring these up because as we were researching the African Cup of Nations, obviously these kind of names come up. And
is that a team called El Plastic?
Yeah,
actually is El Plastic.
Jamie's now pulling up some of the second division names in African football.
Yeah.
And he's right. And Pharaoh FC is an actual team, so he's right.
Jeez.
El Shams. Your mouse arrow is about 2 down from El Shams.
I see that.
El Aluminium. Well, that tells us what their main export is, huh?
Was that right, Pharaoh?
Yeah, Pharaoh FC playing the Egyptian League.
Where?
I brought it up earlier on. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Grand Hotel.
Yeah.
No danger.
Well.
Where's that bit?
Grand Hotel. It's literally below Nile Solag. Let's actually talk about that. So this is some of the teams that you've got in the Premier and Second Divisions and African domestic.
And
I
now
have to say though, the names,
Well,
if you have time to look them up, are fantastic.
they're the Egyptian league. That's Egypt down.
Oh, that's Egypt only. That makes it even
Yeah.
better. God knows what the other.
I know the Egyptian national team are called the Pharaohs.
Yeah, but there's Pharaoh
That's
FC.
right, yeah.
So you're not wrong. We'll move on to the second point. Stephen, you put this forward. Is the controversial topic of video assistant referee. Okay, so VAR is. This is a topic we're going to have to touch on because it's been in the news. It's been controversial for the past week in the Women's World Cup, and they use it in Serie A. Have done for 2 seasons. Or no, this is the last season. The first season they used it full time in Serie A. They've got it in the MLS full time as well. So obviously it's in these leagues, and you don't hear much.
Have it in the Bundesliga.
Bundesliga, so you don't hear about it much in the news.
Yeah, 2
So,
years and all that.
But we'll get started. What are your how do you feel about VAR yourself?
Right, I will say one thing. When I heard obviously that we're going to start doing the video assistant referee in the Premier League next season, I thought, okay, let's we'll see how we get on, sort of thing. The game's obviously changed massively over the last 20, 30, 40 years. Let's see how this goes. And for me, I think because they've started using it they used it in the World Cup, they've used it in the Champions League, they've used it in quite a lot of big tournaments.
Was it FA Cup?
Yeah, I think you're right as well. They used it in quite big tournaments, but for me, it's not been done properly. I think they've bit off a wee bit more than they can chew with it.
Right.
That's again my personal opinion,
fine.
and I think that. Yes, I can see pros and cons on both sides. I used to be able to say I can sit on the fence, but for what I've seen in the last kind of week and a bit, just goes to show me that they need to put a wee bit more into it. Yes, I know, and I know a lot of people, and I've said this to people, and I've been caned for saying it. There's been a couple of controversial decisions in the Women's World Cup, which obviously we'll speak about. And I heard somebody say, is it a big thing, the fact it's only been done in the Women's World Cup? Well, of course it is, because obviously we're seeing how much the women's game is changing now.
Not even now, but you look at the women's game in total, and it's more popular than the men's game in America.
Yeah, well, this is it.
And
as far as I'm aware, and as far as I'm concerned, if they can get it right, great. Not a problem. I'm more than up for that. But I think there are too many grey areas.
Yeah, it's too many
inconsistencies, too many grey areas. Personally speaking, what I would have done if I was in charge at the FA or FIFA or whatever, is get the rugby referees in. Get them to kind of teach the football referees what they need to do. If you actually sit down, I love sitting watching a rugby match because you actually get to hear what the referee is saying. But with the conversation between them and the video assistant referee, I think that would be great.
It's a very good point, actually.
I think that would be great in football, just so that you can actually hear what a referee is saying, because then you as a fan, you can actually hear what the referee has seen, and you understand why they've made that decision.
Okay, Graeme, your thoughts?
I don't think they can have. You have the referees mic'd up to each other in football anyway, but I don't think you can have the referee mic'd up so a footballer can tell the referee, because respect for referees is completely different in rugby. You cannot actually say anything to the referee or you get banned. In football, you can say what you want to the referee. They might book you, they might whatever, but you can act like the amount of swearing that goes on a referee. I've seen it myself in junior football. I've seen it in all levels. It's ridiculous.
But having a referee mic'd up in a big situation, would that then make a lot of players sit back and go, I can't, even though I know I'm up to 90, maybe I've had a penalty given against me that shouldn't have been, I'm going to speak to a referee who's mic'd up, I need to reel it in a wee bit.
I'm not, but I don't think, to be fair, I think like football is more of an emotional game.
Completely.
So like people lose the plot on a pitch. Like in rugby, as you say, rugby's a close game played by gentlemen.
Yes.
Football's a gentleman's game played by clubs. So I don't think, and to be fair, the VAR system they use in rugby is completely different, and it fits in because rugby's a slower game. Whereas in football, I think it's completely. It does my head in because it slows the game down, and you're waiting around for ages. I think referees are using it as an escape route,
Mhm.
so they can't take any blame.
Yeah.
So it's I don't like it. I said it from the start. I don't like it. If they arrive at the correct decision, okay, fair enough. But I think it kind of takes the fans' opinions away.
Takes controversy away.
Yeah, it takes the fans' opinions away. It takes.
But alright, I'll give you a situation, right? You have an FA Cup final, right, say between Tottenham and Chelsea, right? We'll take our favourite club out of it. And say Chelsea are 1-0 up, 89th minute, and they give away a penalty, right? Now, you didn't have VAR, and you're looking at that, as a Chelsea fan, you're looking at that replay and saying, you never touched them. It's a dive, clear dive. Without VAR, that penalty is given, scored, equalised, going to extra time. Now, VAR is implemented. Oh, you never touched them, it's a dive. Free kick out, book the player, you're still 1-0 up, 89th minute, you're going on to win the trophy. In that situation, right, say you're a fan of that club, you're saying it takes the controversy out of it and it takes the fans' opinion out of it. But in that situation, obviously that's VAR done right. Would you rather your team get the free kick out or be drowning your sorrows, you know, in the pub after the game if you lose on penalties to Tottenham going, that never should have been given. We lost because of that penalty, the referees and so on. So is that what you want to keep in the game? Your miserable feelings of losing because of
miserable. I don't think it's a case of being miserable. My opinion at VAR has always been the same. If you have that in the game, you take away human error.
That's just about as what I was just about to say.
Okay.
You take away human error, and unfortunately,
do you think human error is a big part of the game to the point where
there's a difference between human error in the rest part and cheating in the rest part?
It's very different. And I think if you have a referee, for example, we'll go on what you've said there. If, for example, and they're pulling every angle up and everything like that, without VAR, you see where the referee is. You see that the referee's got a player in front of him or two players in front of him. How can I give that decision?
Yep.
Okay, so well
because there's someone in front of the referee, the team loses out on a decision that's gone against them that should never have been given against them.
But then again,
you can get over them if it's human error.
Why should you have to get over? Why do you have to say lose a trophy on penalties, go into extra time, and be okay with it because it's human error? This is the other side of it.
Because I mean, the referee made an honest mistake, whereas in VAR now they're afraid to make mistakes because they have this thing behind them. They can just go, I'll miss that decision, but I'll let the three lads in the box decide. And then
okay, so we've got the pros here.
Just what you say. One. This will be the last thing I say on it, right? If you look at the Argentina and Scotland game the other night there, right? Now, when I've seen that penalty decision for Argentina, at full speed, my first instinct was I thought, that's a penalty. Hands up, I thought that's a penalty. I seen it for one angle, I thought, no, that's still a penalty. I seen it for another angle and well actually she's got the ball there.
Funny, I thought it was a penalty.
I thought that
she did get a touch on the ball.
That shouldn't.
But from one angle behind the goal where you see it, she gets her foot to the ball. But from almost every other angle,
when you look at
getting her foot to the ball does not mean it's not a foul. You get what I mean? Just because you won the ball, or just because you got a touch on the ball.
But again, that's another grey area.
I was always taught when I was growing up, if you have to dive in for the ball, make sure you get the ball first.
Yeah.
Even if you get a stud on the ball first, you've still won the ball.
Depends, but
that's how
the interpretation of playing the ball is. It's all play the ball. You play the ball, play the man.
I mean, then again, listen, this is all opinion just now. It's still in its infancy.
Oh, it's
in 10,
couple of years old.
5, 10, 15 years time, if they get it right, great. Fine. We'll move on with it. As of now, it's still got a long way to go.
I'm not a fan of it, mainly because
you're a traditionalist.
I'm old school with football.
Yeah, you're very old school football, and that's not a bad thing. You keep the traditions alive. That's fair enough. But football evolves. The game has evolved so much that
the reason
things are changing every year.
The reason I'm bringing this in is that there's too much money at stake now for everything to go to human error.
I would go with that as well.
So the pros we'll have a look at. Okay, so the pros here, you can get the correct call. It helps referees in difficult circumstances. It keeps the game fair, and technology is advancing, so the game has to adapt.
Yeah.
Right. Those pros are the pros. So we're gonna take a look at the first example here, okay? Which is England against Cameroon in the Women's World Cup. So we're gonna take a quick look at this decision here. Okay. So we've seen it. First thoughts. She's raised the flag for offside, right? Now, you're saying human error.
Yeah.
In a full speed situation, given that you have a player on the far side and a player in the middle who look offside in an offside position, the player on the far side is offside.
My first instinct, when I saw that at full speed, I thought I genuinely thought there's a hint of offside there. I mean, full speed.
Yeah, exactly.
My first instinct was, I'd need to see that again.
Yeah.
That's what I would say anyway. I'd need to see that again. Obviously, seeing that again on the VAR, the correct decision was made.
A goal.
But when I first seen it, I saw this BBC showed it again the next day or something on the news. I hadn't watched the match, and when I seen it, I said, "She's onside. What are you calling it back for?" And then you saw it, and she was clearly onside. I said, "Why?
Yeah. But then it touches on that human error of
that's fair enough.
The linesman's unfortunately.
The way I look at it is the linesman, obviously, it's whatever angle she was standing at, which again is another point of error. Did she obviously saw from whatever angle she was at that she was offside, so she put the flag up thinking she was offside. She was wrong.
The person on the far side was offside, but she wasn't interfering with play. But that may have, at that angle that she was at, may have thought they're offside, that type of way. And that's where the human error
unless you guessed or predicted that your woman was going to play the ball through the hole and kind of put her up before she played the ball. Don't know. But she was clearly wrong.
We'll take a look at the second example, which is South Korea against Germany. So we'll take a look at the second example of VAR here. Alright. Goal's gone in. Called for offside. Ref goes to VAR. Take a look again. It's not offside.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember this game as well.
Again,
as far as I remember from it, he was standing in an offside position, but they deemed it to hit Mertesack's leg.
Exactly, which it
did. Leg, Hummel's leg was. It did hit his leg.
It did hit his leg. So,
which again, the correct decision was made.
Yeah, but to be fair to the linesman, if he did flag offside, nobody's going to see the ball nudge that man's leg on.
No, completely.
Now, we'll move on to the final pro video. Right, so this is from the pro sections. Leicester v Fleetwood in the FA Cup, I believe.
Yeah.
Offside. Okay. Calls it for offside against Kelechi Iheanacho. This was the first goal awarded by VAR in British football. Okay. So we've had a look. It's called for an offside. I didn't see much in it when you see it at full speed first time round. Didn't see much in it at all. However, video assistant referee gets called in, and the people in the VAR room say, "Time to call this back."
Which, I mean, I have to say, when I first seen that, and when I seen the linesman put his flag up, my first instinct was, well, okay, maybe he is offside. And the thing is, we're not seeing it from the angle.
See the replay here, okay? So the ball's coming up, and he's played. He's onside.
Yeah, he's onside.
He's onside. And this is what I mean. These are the three examples that we've brought up as a pro. For pros and cons. These are three examples where, if human error had taken place, these goals wouldn't have been.
But you look at that,
implemented.
You can understand why that decision was made. Especially the last one, you can understand why the linesman has put his flag up, because at full tilt, the linesman again has maybe thought, well, he's offside.
It's the angle he's at. He's looking at it, and Iheanacho's the fourth man, right, that he sees. The defender beside him, he obviously can't see the defender, so he's obviously thinking, well, he's offside. Whereas if Iheanacho was a bit behind him, he'd seen the defender there.
But this is what I mean. This is where the offside trap becomes a problem for linesmen.
But you're supposed to be there. Say they're the ball. You're supposed to be basically as a linesman there.
Yeah.
So you can look across the line.
At least like kind of half a foot.
You're supposed to be a pace ahead of the play, which is what when Chelsea beat Cardiff in Cardiff, it was Mother over that's where the credits go. He was offside, but the linesman didn't see it because he was running back from the corner flag with him, behind with him, so he wasn't going to see anything. Where if he had stayed at the corner flag, he would have seen us with the credit offside.
Yeah.
But then the goal was given.
This for me as well. Sorry.
No,
this is something that again that we're talking about as well, and this for me is going to be another big grey area, is the fact that you might have, for example, a situation that develops where again it's going to be this player again is a wee bit ahead, but they're no interfering with play. But again, traditionalists, well, he's offside, so they stop the play. Is he interfering with play? Did
There's so many rule changes.
There's so many rule
that happens
changes
over the
now.
years, and sometimes the change don't even know, and then the press have to come out and say, well, the rule was changed on such a day, but nobody's told. These things
The
happen.
way
all the
I was
time.
looked at it was, the simplest way for me to describe this interfering with play shit is, if you're running out of the box and you're outside the ball comes in, you don't touch it. You're not interfering with play. You could be running out and the centre forward's coming in, it's coming onto your head and you took out of it. Centre forward runs on and scores. You're not offside. You're not interfering with it. It just happened to be coming over your head. That's the way I always looked at it. And like referees in my family, they used to say, if you're running out of the box and you don't touch the ball, you're not interfering with play. Whereas nowadays, you could be just walking out and bot just if the ball bounces near you, you're offside, which is ridiculous because you're not aiming to touch the ball.
Yeah, and something that I find that could be difficult as well is, how many times did you hear when you were growing up, yes, the player might have been slightly offside, but he's the attacker, he's got the benefit of the doubt.
That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to give the benefit to
But this is what I'm saying now, with the VAR, he's got to be offside. By the letter of the law, he is offside. Never mind.
It's gotten stricter.
This
is where the cons come into it. So slows the game down. When followed to the letter of the law, it can seem pedantic. Exactly like you boys just said it. Cameroon offside for their goal against England. Again, they were onside, but the benefit of the doubt didn't go to the attacker. Perfect example. Doesn't always come up with the correct decision. Again, you talked about inconsistencies in VAR. And when it's wrongly interpreted, it creates controversy and takes away from the actual game. Yes, it does. These are all cons. So we'll go with the first example, which it's almost like a football killer, right? So if you keep your eye on, just outside on the right hand side of the 6-yard box here. Now looking at that example, right? We'll eventually see it in a slowed down replay. But on first instinct there, it just literally looks like he's just dropped himself to the ground. Right?
Yeah, I'd go with that.
But it gets worse.
I think he even told the referee nothing happened to him.
Exactly. Now, it gets worse. The referee goes over to review VAR. The manager's wondering, what's going on, what's going to happen. Again, it can cause confusion on the bench.
But then see, what annoys me in this instance here is the fact he's looking at that while still having somebody in his ear.
Now, here's where the inconsistency and the strange decisions come into play. He is now giving that player a red card. Right, he sent that player off.
You see the player beside him there, actually telling him, you've got a card. He doesn't even know that's a red card.
So he's gone ahead and sent this player off. Here's a slow motion replay here. If you keep an eye just outside the 6-yard box, okay? That is nothing. And he's been sent off for that. And again, this is why we've moved on now to the cons and how VAR can ruin a game of football. He sent that boy off for literally nothing. He moved in front of the player and the player dropped to the ground. Right?
The thing is, if that's a red card, the game's finished.
He did make contact with him, but what he was trying to go. The player already cleared the ball. He was following in to try and get the ball. But the player already cleared the ball, and then he caught his foot. But it wasn't. It was completely accidental. It was never a red card. Obviously,
we had a look at this beforehand, and we said this. We said this between us. It's a free kick out. At the very worst, at the very harshest, a booking. And it is being extremely harsh. It's a free kick out, and and you say that's an example that kills football. We move on to the second one between Genoa and Juventus. This one really made me angry. So the referee points to a corner.
Everybody actually, you can't just see
it. One
player makes a complaint about the even the
boy who's deciding that.
So the handball has been given against that player, and a penalty's been given to Juventus. Now, we'll see another replay just after this, slow down even further on a much better angle. Okay, penalty's been given against Genoa for Juventus. Now here's the big issue here. The ball is literally a foot away from his arm, and the player kicks it at his arm. How, in God's name, is that a penalty?
Well, it's no in my eyes. And to be fair, this is what's going to happen now. We've seen it already.
I think, no, just to point out, sorry to interrupt you, Stephen, this
No,
is
sir.
before the silhouette of a person rule came in. Okay,
Yeah.
this is before that, so this is arms flailing. It happens. It's moving of the body. It's natural.
This is what I'm saying, right?
And
If you look at that as a penalty being given, right, you are going to get players now actually aiming to kick the ball into one another's hands.
Mhm.
With the new rules now, it's a handball, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
So
this is another example where
it's just going to be a
VAR,
tactic now.
you know, completely gives an opportunity to players to, you know, simulate a penalty.
Mhm.
Right. The next one, Cameroon women against the Lionesses. This one was one that really got under my skin. It's a fantastic goal, wonderful finish,
And look at the score at that point as well.
and the score at that point is 2-1. It's a goal for Cameroon. It brings them straight back into the game. Now, that to me looked onside. Even from first look, it looked onside. Okay, it's been called offside against Cameroon. Goal is not given. Now, this is what's given here. That to me is onside, but then it brings in the letter of the law con that we talked about.
That foot is offside.
That her foot is offside, but it's not actually on the ground.
Yeah, but still,
She's, you know, again, the benefit of the doubt of the attacker.
still something she can score with that.
It just this is the thing that I've always talked about, and it brings it in. I mean, you look at that there as we're talking about. Her foot's offside.
But her
midway.
body is even in front of the English defender. Listen, if you look at that line, her body's almost in front of the English defender. Yeah,
We're going to know
it's her trailing leg.
We're going to know where's the English defender's feet because it's been hidden by the line there.
Exactly. So again, you know,
It's
where does that stand?
But our
Massive
foot is
inconsistency.
offside, that's the problem.
Well, here's the letter of the law.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
She can score with her foot, so she's claimed to be
Nothing's
offside.
there. She's just trying to run back
Yeah,
on
she
side.
could actually walk a drop and she could hit it.
Yeah, but she's running back on side. Her foot's trailing, okay, but then again, if that was any other game.
She's just deemed, she deemed to be offside, so the game.
Well, this is the letter of the law flaw that we're talking
I'm
about.
going to say
And
something really
penalty.
controversial here,
Far right.
right? And maybe this again, I might not get a lot of likes for this, but hey, I'm going to say it. If that had been the England men's team, and that goal was chopped off for the England men's team, that's going to be massively. They're going to say everything that we've just said there. It's a benefit of the doubt. It's a letter of the law. It's going to be blown out of proportion because it's England men's team. We all know how that kind of goes. Every time we watch, and can I just say I've watched this again. I've watched the Women's World Cup for the start because I watched it because Scotland were in it for the first time, and I watched that and I watched it on BBC. It took 17 seconds for somebody to mention England won the World Cup in '66. Now, it wasn't even the same. It's nothing to do with the men's team. It's nothing to do with the men's game. Let the women have their moment.
Ah, yeah,
really.
I agree.
And then, as I say, if that had been England against Spain or whatever, and that happened to the England men's team, we'd never hear the end of it.
I know. And because it's not even only the women's game, but if even had it been the Cameroon men's team, it wouldn't be as big a deal.
I just.
But on a Scottish football point of view, from an SPFL point of view, obviously Stephen's our SPFL correspondent, usually looking after all the Scottish games in the upcoming season. If this was introduced into the Scottish game, would you like to see it introduced into the Scottish game?
No, I would.
I would.
Graeme?
No.
I would.
Because the referees are bad moves at it.
Yes.
I wouldn't either.
It gives them a way out.
It's not the referee. My reason is not the referees. I think the Scottish game, people might say I'm being ridiculous here, but I just see it, I call it as I see it. The Scottish game is too physical for VAR.
Yes, I agree. I think
It's too honest.
It's
It's too honest.
It's too physical. It's too honest. And let's face it, the SFA can't afford it by what they
No.
say anyway.
well,
Not even goal line technology actually.
I was just going to say that as well, right? We're talking about this. We're talking about the SFA here, right?
Mhm.
Now, anybody who knows me, I cannot stand the SFA. For me, they are corrupt to the core. I might be controversial saying that,
Fine.
but I'm going to say it. They're corrupt to the core, right? I I'm going to pull up an example here. Again, maybe this is just me speaking as a Hib supporter here. Ollie Shaw scored a perfectly good goal at Tynecastle in an Edinburgh derby.
Behind the line,
Right?
it was given.
Behind the line, no goal was given. Now, I understand why the goal wasn't given. You had two players in front of the ball, you had the goalpost there, the linesman wasn't up with play. If the VAR was there, well, it's a goal.
Yeah.
Yes, fine, I completely get it. Okay?
Yep.
After that game, and it was everything, everybody spoke about it, everybody spoke about how we can improve the Scottish game. You know, we have to bring VAR, and look at what's happened at Tynecastle there the other night. And Neil Doncaster, the person that he is, turns round and says, but we can't afford to get it right.
No.
We can't afford that.
He says we can't afford that. The average cost of goal line technology in a league today is £20,000.
If we can't afford £20,000,
£20,000 is a drop in the, well, you say it's a drop in the ocean. We don't know the ins and outs of the finance. We don't know the financial structure. We just haven't looked it up.
Mhm.
But 20 grand to me doesn't sound like an awful lot of money.
It's
today.
not.
And if that's what it takes to put goal line technology in,
What are the 12 rounds in the SPFL? But then what about the teams that come up then? They're going to have to get it in. And then you're going to have an unfair playing field then, because it's not going to go down to the champion. It's not going to go down to the Scottish Championship, League 1 and League 2. So the teams that get promoted and then go back down are going to have it. So that's what they're saying. They can't kit every club out. And like I know it's in the Premier League and all that stuff, and then like when Villa go up and all that, but like Villa,
exactly.
but all the Premier League clubs are doing it themselves.
Mhm.
They're not relying on the FA. The SFA have to.
But clubs themselves in the Scottish Premiership, 20 grand, depending on the club, can be a lot of money.
A lot of, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do you know what I mean?
Clubs can't
But look,
afford
let's face it, VAR, I can't see coming into the Scottish game at all. Not even in the near future.
No.
it. Not even for
I would be
finals.
very
No.
shocked.
No.
Right? But we'll move on from VAR. We'll have a look at the stats real quick. Does it take too much time?
Yes, on average. I think.
900, studying 972 games over 2 years from March 2016. 69.1% of the games had no VAR review. 57.4% of checks were for penalty incidents and goals. 42.1% were for red card incidents. 0.5% for other instances such as mistaken identity. Average time lost to VAR is 55 seconds compared to 8 minutes 51 for free kicks, 7 minutes 2 for throw-ins, 5 minutes 46 for goal kicks, 3 minutes 57 for corners, and 2 minutes 57 for subs. Right? And the referee inaccuracy went from 93% to 98.8% after the introduction of VAR. Now I know we're all not mad on stats. You know, some people just, they're numbers to some folk, but there you are.
To be honest, like, I mean, seeing that.
8 minutes 51 for free kicks. Let's be honest, right? That's pushing and shoving, pulling shorts. Referee having to go in and sort it out, threatening to both players, everything. And the fighting on the wall that goes on. The other time it takes the referee to actually walk up to the wall, do the thing, come back, do the thing around the ball, and then take the free kick. That's what it's all going on. The same with corners. Corner kicks are a nightmare in the box because defenders are pulling each other.
We've all seen it. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Now, but that's what I mean. That's why I say we don't all like stats here. I for one, I'm not a big one on it.
No,
definitely
no,
not.
no.
But there you go. Your example there is put straight to the stats. Like, you're saying it's 8 minutes 51 free kicks. You've just given an example as to why it's 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's
51
all
free
that.
kicks.
Which is going to be
part of the game.
It's going to be cut dramatically when the rules have come in now. But in fact, you can't have opposition players in the wall.
No, you can't have a forward opposition player in the wall. You can't have an attacking player in the wall.
So
That is the rule.
So what? You're going to get a centre half all the way up the pitch to
Or a
stand
midfielder. You're not allowed to have an
crazy.
attacking player in the wall.
That's crazy.
And that's in Scottish football as well.
That's
ridiculous.
So when you take a free kick, you're not allowed to have an attacking player in the wall because it's an advantage to the opposing team.
That's ridiculous. That's just.
Don't we love football, mate?
Oh,
The evolution of the
that's-
game
honestly,
is...
That's just wow.
That's why when Ireland took a free kick the other day, Shane
Exactly.
Duffy was in the wall, but Conor Hourihane took that free kick against.
So there you go. The rules are already in effect.
Oh,
We'll finish on the final subject because it's one it's actually hurt me and a lot of football fans around the world because the treatment of managers again by clubs nowadays can be vicious at times. But Rafa Benitez having to leave Newcastle, and Graeme, tell us how you've read up on this a little bit. Tell us how he was told he was leaving Newcastle.
a friend of his heard it on Sky and rang him up. So his friend got the news before he did. Rang him up and said, "Oh, she's sorry, I'm leaving." And he goes, "What?" and I had to go back in and they told
So you're talking about a Premier League club, one of the biggest clubs. Let's face it, one of the biggest clubs in the world. Newcastle are a massive club and a massive brand. Okay,
I think you're a bit far saying they're one of the biggest clubs in the world.
you'd be surprised.
No, they're not.
You'd be
They're
surprised.
not.
They're a massive club.
I wouldn't even go as far as to say they're one of the biggest clubs in England.
Really?
I really would. Sorry, listen.
But would you put them? Would you put them under Bournemouth?
Would I put them under? I wouldn't, mate. I'm being honest. I wouldn't even say Bournemouth are a big club. I wouldn't. Take away the English Premier League money that Newcastle receive. Where would they be?
Mm-hmm.
I
now
understand
put it down to ownership.
completely. No, this is nothing to do with ownership. I'll get to that in a minute. You take Newcastle. Yes, they're a one-team town. They get 52,000 through the gate every week. I have no issue at all with that. I understand their fans are absolute diehards. They eat, sleep and breathe Newcastle. I respect that. Right? I really do. But take away the money that they receive for the Premier League, who would they be? They would be nobody. Right? I'm sorry. If you look at a team like Newcastle, well, I'm bringing up Newcastle, I'm going to bring up Sunderland as well. Sunderland received over £100 million for being relegated.
Mm-hmm.
AS Monaco got £92 million for winning their domestic league. That to me is just, that's a mind-boggling stat. For being relegated.
Historically, Newcastle are a big club.
Now, we have the current ranking board up here, Stephen.
Alright, come
And
on.
the top 20 clubs. Is this in the world, Jamie?
It's richest, isn't it?
The richest clubs in the world.
From-
Look at number 20. Now, I understand you saying that without the money, it's just a revenue, the table,
It's just
and the
my,
value
it's
in
just
millions.
my opinion. I think Newcastle are one of these clubs. The potential to be a big club is there. The potential
So
is there.
their time in the Champions League when Shearer was there, the Champions League,
But what have they
Europa
won?
League season in season
What have they
out.
won?
No, I agree with you there.
They
They
won.
haven't won that since 1969.
Right,
So, yeah.
the fair intercities. Well,
Yeah,
what
well,
would
if
be
you're
the
going to call it a major trophy, was it really a major trophy back then? Maybe.
Ish. Hadn't quite built up to UEFA Cup
But
standard.
historically,
They're a big club.
yeah, they are a big
You look
club.
at the players who
Wolves.
play for
Look
them.
at Wolves. Wolves are a big club.
But
Historically.
as I say, historically, I'm not taking that away for them. Historically, not a problem. But as you say, the last time they won a trophy, 1969. For a big club like Newcastle, that's unacceptable. They should be winning trophies. I'm not going to
No,
sit and say
I'm going to
that
agree
they
with you on
should-
that.
They should be
I'm
winning
going to
trophies.
agree with you on that. They should
Well,
be.
yeah, but
Taking nothing away from the current ownership
That's
predicament,
the-
which we'll get to. I think, personally speaking, a club for the size of Newcastle, as has already been proved there, they should be winning at least a trophy every couple of years.
they had. That's why I can say it.
The Intertoto Cup win
Oh, I'm not counting the total.
That's not the
in
come on.
2006.
Come on, that's
Intertoto Cup.
Scott Parker's the last trophy winning captain of Newcastle. We're going to count that. Like, Intertoto Cup.
No, no, we won't get that. I'm only having a laugh here. But no, to get back to Rafa Benitez and his treatment upon leaving Newcastle, absolutely for a club the size of Newcastle and the stature manager that he is,
I agree.
it's an absolute disgrace. It's an insult, and a manager of his stature and what he's done for the club under
I agree.
the financial restraints that have been put on him, it's an absolute disgrace. And it makes me angry just thinking about it. It should not have happened that way. He should have been brought in face to face with Mike Ashley and said, look, we can't offer you what you want. Or face to face with one of the board members and said,
We're talking about Mike Ashley here. Come on.
But what he actually doesn't deal with Benitez is the man Lee Charney.
yeah, but I mean, at least trying
the thing
to
is-
like put him down, sit him down face to face and say, look, we can't offer you what you want. And we're at an impasse here. It looks like your time at Newcastle's over. At least give him that respect to say face to face. But they haven't done that.
We're talking about Rafa here, right? Since Rafa Benitez has now, the news is now confirmed that he is now leaving Newcastle. Who's the front runner for his job? Mourinho.
Who has now come out today and said he will not
But,
be taking
but the
Newcastle.
thing is, Newcastle, if you actually go on, then now they're going to be taken over by some sheik or whatever they're called. You know,
Can't see that happening now.
but
I don't.
if they were to be taken over, and it's a big if they were to be taken over, with a blank chequebook, you're not going to try and tell me somebody like Josie wouldn't take that over.
But it depends on what Newcastle want. Like, Newcastle have struck me, like, and it's not just the Mike Ashley area, it was the Douglas Hall and Freddie Shepherd effort area as well. They just loved to shoot themselves in the fucking foot. They used to do me head in. I used to, like, they went down under Alan Shearer and I actually laughed because they were wrecking me head. They were selling way too close to them.
Completely. And as you talk about him, Alan Shearer, it's a sin Alan Shearer never won more in his career. He won one Premier League title and he's at Blackburn
with Kenny Dalglish.
Yeah, but that's his own. Well,
alongside Chris Sutton, as we were talking about.
He could have played. Man United were banging us.
Yeah, I mean, he could have played. He could have played for Manchester United, right? There's no getting away from it. It's very well documented.
And at that time, you know, with Fergie in charge, God knows what he would have won. You know.
But then the thing is that he's always had the conversation with Kevin Keegan. Kevin Keegan's convinced him to come home. And the thing is, that would be like if somebody came up to me and says, if I'm playing for whoever, and said, well, Hibs are wanting you, I'm off. Loyalty.
Exactly.
It's loyalty. It's that ambition to say, I have played for my hometown club.
Yeah.
I have scored goals for my hometown club.
True.
It's that ambition.
No. Look, I'm a massive Liverpool fan. If I was offered a chance to do it and they went winning anything when I was winning something with somewhere else, I think I'd rather keep winning.
I mean, again, it's all different opinions. Obviously, if it were me and it's my hometown team, I'm going to go.
Like Frank Lampard's dad played for West Ham. He played for West Ham. He's a West
He
Ham
won
fan.
at Chelsea.
Went to Chelsea to win things.
He won everything.
Gerrard probably should have gone to Chelsea to win what he won.
But then the thing is, Steven Gerrard is probably a great example of that because he probably could have won more in his career.
Yeah.
He won a lot at Liverpool. He won 8 major honours with Liverpool.
9, I think.
Was it 9? Well, I beg your pardon. Right?
9
trophies at Liverpool. Could he have won more?
Possibly.
Potentially, if he left to go to Chelsea, yeah, he probably could have won a league. Went to, if you believe what Mourinho says, trying to say that he wanted to sign him for Real Madrid, could he have won another Champions League?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, if you look back at, you know, we're talking about financial constraints, you're talking about, you know, Real Madrid and Chelsea, and they have money coming out of their ears, right? Between June 2016 and June 2018, okay, because these are the only financial records that are there because obviously the financial year's not finished, the records haven't been put out for last season. So they had a net spend of 45.8 million. They made 45.8 more than they spent. I mean, this is what you have to work with, a minimum. I mean, they only broke their transfer record, who used to be Michael Owen, until Miguel Almiron came along.
I mean, that to me is just an amazing stat.
In 2019, their record signing was still Michael Owen.
From 2007, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And
at £13.5 million.
And
even clubs like, I'm going to say here, Bournemouth have broken. Brighton have broken that.
I was going to say, but you could talk about Bournemouth.
You could talk about Bournemouth.
Bournemouth went away and spent £20 million on Dominic Solanke. I mean, that's just...
That's it. You know, they have money to spend on Dominic Solanke. This is Bournemouth. This is someone who have an 11,500 seater stadium.
I completely agree.
And Newcastle have to get as far as, you know, allegedly a loan from a bank to pay for Almiron's, even their money. This is what Rafa had to work on, and the fact that he lasted the championship getting relegated into championship, winning the championship, coming back and then spending another year there. So 4 years in total. Well, 3.5.
3.5, 4 years.
Came in 2016, so 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I love Rafa Benitez because again,
what he's done for
what he's done for.
Look over his career,
and this is it. You look over his career. Wherever he's gone,
he's won something.
He's won something.
With the respect of Inter Milan, I don't think he won.
He won the Club World Cup, but we're not counting that. Well,
you can't count it.
If you want to count it,
yeah. But I mean, Chelsea.
Yeah,
he won the Europa League.
Real Madrid.
No, he wasn't there long enough. Didn't complete the season.
I'm not sure to
count that.
No, he didn't.
I mean,
he didn't.
I think
Valencia.
Yeah, UEFA Cup.
He's one of these managers who goes in to a club and instantly gets the club. The fans, some fans, Chelsea fans, I'm going to say this, I don't think the Chelsea fans got him. I don't think the Real Madrid fans got him.
They didn't like him because of his Liverpool connections.
Real Madrid didn't get him because Real Madrid are used to their manager being this superstar.
Yeah, completely.
You know, don't forget, was it Pellegrini that managed there as well?
Yeah, Pellegrini
managed there after. Yeah, he did. Pellegrini, I'm pretty sure.
Managed too.
Real Madrid.
Yeah, he did.
Sure.
Yeah, but you know, these managers come in, you know, and he won stuff with Man City.
Yeah, he did that.
You know, he won trophies at Man City, but Real Madrid again. He wasn't their poster boy that they used to. Mourinho, he's got the mouth for it. He's got the attitude. He's got the swagger. And Real Madrid go, oh, it's Mourinho.
If you look at what Benitez did with Valencia, he broke the Real Madrid Barcelona monopoly.
He did
all the time he was there.
Right.
He won it 2 out of 3 seasons that he was there, and he won the UEFA Cup, beating Marseille in the final. I remember that final well. It was Drogba's last game for Marseille.
He was a fantastic manager. He is a fantastic manager.
He is a fantastic manager.
And here's his record at Newcastle, okay? He played 146, won 62, drew 31, lost 53. His win percentage is 42.5. Under the financial constraints and what he had to work with Newcastle, that's
decent.
That shows how good a manager he is.
Except for Valladolid and I think it was Tenerife, he's had a positive win percentage. Obviously, he's won more than he's lost.
Yep, we'll have a look.
Like when you look at it, he's 194 wins to Liverpool. These are all league games. These
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the league, is correct.
But yeah, even at Real Madrid, he only lost 24 games, but he won 17 of them.
He only lost 3 games at Madrid.
Yeah, but it was after the 4-0 defeat to Barcelona, he was sacked.
Which is stupid. I mean, I know it's in Madrid, Barcelona. I get the rivalry. I get how big a game it is. You should. I mean, look. When you go back to the mid 2000s, how many games Ronaldinho single-handedly destroyed Real Madrid. David Beckham was there.
Yep.
You know, these games happen, but you can't sack a manager based on one result. I mean, he lost 3 times out of 25 games.
I agree.
You know, that's great.
Inter
Milan again, 25 games, lost 7. You know.
Yeah, Inter
Milan.
He just kind of hounded out of that because it was after Mourinho won the Champions League, and he won the treble with Inter Milan.
48 games at Chelsea as interim manager. 10 losses. But that is fantastic. Look at his win percentages that he's had.
But that's what I'm saying. You know, look at teams like Chelsea. Chelsea were never going to like him because of the fact he was Liverpool manager, which is daft, stupid.
Oh, it was his rival in Mourinho as well.
Yeah.
But then, for me, as I say, every club that he's been at, bar the exception of Chelsea and Real Madrid, the fans have loved him.
Yep.
Because
you look at that
instantly.
You look at that overall total stat in league games. Every club he's ever managed, 1,110 games total.
Actually, it's not just league games. Sorry, I tell you, like it's Europe and everything. It's co-competitions.
Graeme.
Because he didn't manage 48.
You allow one mistake. We'll allow you that one mistake. But 1,110 games in total in all competitions. He's had a 50. Let's round it up. 50% win rate.
That's phenomenal.
Rounding it up by 0.2% obviously, but it's just a travesty how it ended in Newcastle because, you know, in my opinion, throw whatever money he wants at him.
Yeah.
Give him the job.
Yep.
Because he'll do a job for your club. You know, and we'll
the fact that he won the Champions League with players like Jimmy Traore.
No, stop her now.
You know, Steve Finnan.
Well,
listen, I like Steve Finnan because of the fact that he was a kind of player that when he was at your team, he gave you everything. Was he?
No,
was he absolutely
but he had
world class quality?
No, but he had a consistency that's hard to find in players.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying I'm going at you for saying Steve.
No, listen.
I bang agree with you. I straight away agree with you. He wasn't a world class talent, but
he was a player that
he was a grinder.
He was the kind of player that when he put the shirt on, he gave you everything.
And sometimes that means more than.
Yes.
You know.
And
you can have all the talent in the world, but.
Fair enough. That was probably an unfair comparison. I'll withdraw that. But, you know, obviously having players like Jimmy Traore,
that's
Igor Bishkan, and his team. You know what I mean? And he won the Champions League with these players. That says enough for me.
Neil Mellor.
You know, Neil Mellor. Another one, you know.
It's actually he's actually one of my cult heroes, to be honest with you.
Miran Barros.
Purely for that goal against Arsenal, he is a cult hero.
Anthony Metallic.
Oh, Jesus.
Far on cinema upon God.
Nunez. Did he bring Nunez in that season?
He brought Nunez in, yeah. He was part of the Michael one.
Yeah. It was 8 million plus Nunez. Fucking bargain there, that was.
Oh. I mean, he's a world class manager, and the fact
And a great
that
person as
Newcastle
well to boot.
done that to him is pretty poor. Is poor.
Yeah, it's quite
Well,
poor.
we'll call it there. On Rafa Benitez. It's a travesty I'm leaving, but look, we've poured over AFCON VAR and Rafa Benitez's unfortunate demise at Newcastle. But thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed yourself. From Stephen, Graeme and myself. Have a good evening.